Hey, welcome back to Karen's Papercraft. Thank you very much for watching. Wat leuk dat je weer kijkt. Dankjewel. Today is number 4 in a series on how to wrap a bottle of Tombow glue. I've made a very cute box for it. It has a pull-out box and it has a removable belly band as well. So, if you want to find out how you can make it, come and join me and craft along with me. I will show you the supply that I've used. The cardstock was Gorgeous Grape. The Designer Series paper is Hues of Happiness. I have used the glittered organdy ribbon for the pull-out box. The butterflies on the embellishment are from the Full Basket dies and the Cheerful Basket stamp set. I've coloured them with Fresh Freesia and Highland Heather blends, and you can see that I've already made 2 butterflies, well, to save some time. For the rest of the embellishment I have used the hand-penned petals and the penned flowers dies. I've used Old Olive and Daffodil Delight, the light version, Early Espresso ink and Gorgeous Grape ink. And I'm going to continue by showing you how you can cut the Designer Series paper so that you get one continuous pattern around your box. You need to cut a couple of pieces. The first one that you cut is 1 1/8 of an inch. Then you cut a 1 1/2 piece. You cut a 1 1/8 piece again. And you cut a 1 1/2 piece again. This last piece goes into the bottom, but you have to shorten it a bit. I'm cutting off 1/8 of an inch. So can I manage that? Can I see 1/8 of an inch anywhere? Oh, well, let me just put it this way. It is 4 1/4. So you cut it back to 4 1/8. I was looking for 1/8 there, but that's rather difficult to see. If you look there, it's much easier. So this goes on to the bottom. And I'm writing that on my pieces, and I'm numbering them, so that should I mess them up, later on I will know in which order to stick them on. And I'm putting this one aside for the bottom. I will continue with the pull-out box. I have already done the scoring, and you can see the measurements. I will blend them in. So first I'm going to, with the long side top, you have some score lines, and then you have score lines with a short side top as well. I'm going to fold and burnish all these score lines. This box looks very complicated, but it isn't, and I'll show you where to do the cutting. You have these long sides, and first you're going to cut off all those score lines as far as the second score line on either side. So I've cut them up, and now I'm going to trim this long narrow bit. That's going to be the flap that you fold into the box. And if you keep this at the top, this is the top, this is the bottom. So here you're going to make the hole for the ribbon to go through. But first I'm going to do some cutting, some more cutting, and I'll take the bottom first and wedge these, and here too. This is the top, this is the side of the box, and here you're going to wedge as well, that long piece. So this is what you have now. Then some more wedging. Let me just think. First I'll do the fold over flap. This one you shorten as far as the score line, and then you wedge, and there as well. So you shorten it, which means you cut it off along the score line, and then you wedge. I'll show you what you have now. These we have already wedged, so I'm going to fold these in, and then I'm going to shorten these two, and you make them shorter, so you cut about, I don't know, how much is it? About 3/8 of an inch I've cut off, and you wedge. And you repeat. So this one and that one, they have already been wedged, so you have these two left. You shorten them, and there's no need to be very neat about it because they're going to be folded inside the box. Nobody will ever see them. So this is how you keep your box. That's the top, and this is the end where you're going to punch a hole. And so that's the one. So I'm taking it like this, and I've made a template for it. So I've cut a piece of paper which is in the same size, and I'll show you how I make a template like that, because it makes it really easy to punch the hole. Let me first do that. And this I'm going to need later on as well. So I'm putting these over here for a minute. You need a piece of paper, just copy paper, which is, let me just check my notes, 1.5 by 1 1/8. And I'll just use my notes for that, why not? And then you fold, and I'll put my silicone craft sheet underneath. It's dark, you can see better. So put corner to corner and fold it, and again corner to corner and fold it. Then I use a marker to draw lines, makes it much more easily visible. And now it's really easy to punch a hole in there, right in the middle, so that you end up with a template like the one I just used. I don't want to lose these, so I'll put the clip back on. And I'm going to punch the hole in my pull-out box. And punch, and you have a hole in the perfect position. Then I'm going to put tear and tape on, and I'll show you. I'll do this, and when I finish doing that I will show you in more detail, so I'll speed up for this. Then I'm going to attach the ribbon and the bottom to the box, and you need about 3 inches of ribbon and I've put these two pieces of tear and tape there. I'm going to use them to attach the ribbon, so I'll fold it up and push it through, and then push it through as far as necessary so that you can stick these two down, but they mustn't go beyond that end, so I'm pulling it back just a bit more, and then I'm taking my take your pick tool and attach one half, and then the other half. I'm going to put the liner on the bottom as well. I'm going to attach two more pieces of tear and tape on top of the ribbon, not only to secure it but to make sure that the ends of the box will hold, because if there's the ribbon in between you don't have enough tackiness for the box to stay together. So just two more strips, and I'm putting those along the edges. Do you see? There. For the strip, for the ribbon, I put it more towards the middle, but here I'm putting them towards the very edge of the box. And then first I'm going to put my box together, and which means I have to remove these bits. Here I'm more careful because there is ribbon underneath. This end too. Then it helps if you fold back this edge, and then you can align the edge there. So put back that one, and then you can get your fingers under. And that one too. Same thing here. Then first you fold over these two where there's already the tear and tape. So just fold them over. Use your bone folder to press down. And then I can do the side part. Same thing, you fold it over and you get a lovely sturdy box. And this then you can put in, and you put in the flap, and that's your box finished, you see? Okay, so I'm putting that one over here, and I'm going to continue with the lid. Again, I've done the scoring. It's really important that you get a good look, because there is a larger end and a smaller end, but the difference is negligible. So do make sure that you do your scoring at the right end. So you have the 6 1/4 end, that's where your score lines go that way, and then the 6 1/8 ends, that is where you have the 2 score lines. That's really important. Again, I'm going to fold these and burnish them. And before I do my cutting here, I'm going to attach tear and tape. That saves me from having to attach it 4 times. So just one long strip along that narrow edge. That's the 1/2 inch edge. And while I'm at it, I'll put some tear and tape on the glue flap as well. And I'm going to need to put some tear and tape on in a minute for the top of the box. Well, the lid, I should say, because it's a lid. Now I can do the cutting. And this bottom strip, you're going to wedge, because there's tear and tape under now. it's a bit thicker, and I'm going to wedge all these 4 parts. Nobody will see them, so if your wedging isn't very neat, it doesn't really matter. So here I've wedged this bottom. I'm going to wedge this one as well. Then you have wider parts and narrower parts. Well, first let me get rid of this narrow strip. Now, you cut up those 4 score lines. And then you wedge the narrow ones. So I fold back the wider ones, I have the 2 narrow ones left. Again, you shorten them a bit, about 1/2 inch I would say, and you wedge them so that they don't overlap too much inside the box lid. With the glue flap to the right, this is the bottom. So first I'm going to attach my Designer Series paper panels. And remember, I numbered them. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. And you can see that now you have a continuous pattern, which I think looks great. So I'll go and do that. When I've finished putting them on, I'll be back. I'll show you one. So you have to be careful here because you do want glue near the edges. You don't want your panels to be loose around the edges, but again you don't want too much glue either because you don't want it to ooze out. So I'm really careful and putting down a narrow strip of glue near the edges, not quite on the edges, and then I'm attaching it to the lid, and I've put that piece of, just that one small strip of seal in the middle so it doesn't move anymore. So I'll go and do this, and when I've finished I'll be back. If you want some Designer Series paper on the top of your box, you can, but you have to cut another piece. Here I have mine, and I'm going to attach it to that part because that is the top of the box. This is going to be folded inside. You can leave it out. I mean, if you look at it from the top, I'll show you before I've stuck the box together, you would have this effect with no paper on. So if you don't have the Designer Series paper, or if you don't want to use another bit because you'd have to cut up some more for this, then you can definitely leave it out, but I do like it with that piece on top as well. I think it has a more finished look, but then I did have the scrap of Designer Series paper left, so that's why I could cut this tiny bit. And you see, it's the same way that I do all these panels. I put some seal in the middle, and it will your panel will float on the Tombow for a minute, so you can align it, and then when you're pleased with where it is, you just push down and it is adhered right away. So I need just 5 more bits of tear and tape. If I'm counting, then I should count right. This is the top, so here you put your tear and tape down in a U shape. This is going to be the back of your lid, so there you just put it down in 2 strips. As always, push with your bone folder to make sure that it adheres well. And then first I'm going to adhere these parts along the bottom, and I'm leaving that one for a minute because I'm going to stick that over last. So these 3 go over to start with. And again, with my bone folder, I press down to make sure it really adheres. Then I can fold it over, and fold that piece over, and again make sure it adheres. And now I can put over this last flap, and it goes over that side flap, you see. Again, a nicely finished look, although not many people will be looking inside the lid, I suppose, but it has a better look. Now then, I can put together the top of the lid. Remember the two pieces, that's the back flap, the side flaps go in first, then you stick over the back flap, and I'm making sure that these edges align, and then I can stick down what's going to be the front flap. And that's the lid almost finished, and I'm using my bone folder to press down to make sure the tear and tape adheres well. You can see which is the front of the lid, because here you have this seam, so that is your front. I'm going to make the embellishment and the belly band, of course. I'm going to start by stamping the outline image in Early Espresso. Make sure there's plenty of ink on the stamp. This is just a piece of basic white, ordinary basic white, no need to have the thick variety. When I colour in the stamp, I stamp off. I don't want the colour too dark, so you ink up your stamp and you stamp off, and then you put it on. I'm trying to get it on, and when you think, well, there's just too much white, stamp off twice and then offset your stamp a bit, you see, and you've filled in more of the flower. And the same thing with this flower, I'm going to check which is the best shape. That's the one. So you ink up your stamp, stamp off. And these were not made to completely fit, so you can work around a bit and fill it in if you like. I'm going to colour the stem with my blends. And then I can die cut the flower with the matching die. And because the blends bleed through the paper, I've cut the die once more from a scrap piece of gorgeous grape, and I'm going to attach those two together so it doesn't show from the back anymore. Otherwise, you see, you might see that, and that's one way of avoiding it. So that's the embellishment nearly ready. I'm going to show you how to make the belly band. Again, I've done the scoring, and after the scoring you cut off just a sliver. So here you have the 1/2 inch end. So here from that piece you just move it along in your trimmer until this edge aligns with the brown of the groove, and then you cut off, I think this is about 1/16 of an inch. It helps you to fold it back in. So again, folding and burnishing, And you can see, because I've cut off now, this folds over really nicely and more easily. And you need the bulk of this double piece. Not only does it look more sturdy, if you make it without the extra piece here, it'll be too big for the box. That's the way I've made the measurements. Otherwise I would have to be working with 1/16 of inches, which I don't like very much. So there you have it. And again, I'm going to do some wedging, but not along these outside corners, okay? So leave those as they are, but you do wedge in between. And at this end, you cut away the score line. So it's not really wedging, but just cutting away the, so you see it's really, really tiny bit that I'm removing. I'm just cutting on either side of the score line into a point to where the score line is. It makes folding it easier. Then I'm going to fold over the larger flaps and stick them down. Where you have those fold over flaps, that is the bottom part of your belly band. So if you have your lid and the box, put it on like that, you see, and then you can stick it over. Now by doing this, I know that here and there I need a piece of tear and tape. I just have to see this before I stick it down, otherwise I'll just confuse myself. So here and this end. Oh, well, I'll just save that. So make sure that you have that end there, and then you can fold it around your box, and then you can stick it down. You remove the backing paper, and because you've put tear and tape on both ends, there won't be any peeking out. Do make sure that you get it on straight in one go, because you know tear and tape, there's no moving around anymore. Then you carefully remove the box, and then you press down. And I'm looking for the top of my box. There we go. Now I can attach the embellishment, and I want it on a bit at an angle. So I know that here and there, so roughly there and there, I'm going to put a dimensional. If you make sure that you put them closer together, they won't stick out from the side of the box. If you take it off again, you can press down. And now for the butterflies, I'm going to use mini dimensionals. Do I have any? Yeah, there are some here. And I have to look in my box, the very bottom, to find them. I did show you earlier on, didn't I, that I made them beforehand in the same way as I made the embellishment. So I stamped them, coloured them and die cut them. I'm going to put 2 mini dimensionals on, and I want the Fresh Freesia one to go there. Well, that's a bit of white, you see, so if you stick your butterfly on, you've camouflaged that. And the other one can go here, on the leaves so that you can see it very, very well. So, 2 boxes finished. And that's it for today. I hope you liked this tutorial. Do check out the others on gift wrapping a box of Tombow glue. Dat was het voor vandaag. Ik hoop dat je het leuk vond. En kijk ook eens naar de andere filmpjes die ik heb gemaakt over het verpakken van een flesje Tombow lijm. So, thank you very much for watching. Dankjewel voor het kijken en see you soon. Bye! Tot ziens!